to another episode of the Healthcare Mad Genius podcast. Today we are very lucky that we have someone near and dear to my heart, someone that we couldn't complete our mission with, Miss Norma Stanbridge, our Chief Clinical Officer. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be here. Never once in my career did I think I'd add a podcast to my resume, so I'm very excited about it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Over the course of time, in your tenure here with HMG, I've had the opportunity to have many conversations, so I feel like I've got a little bit of the background story about how you came up through the ranks, why long-term care, all those type of little stories that make you Norma. But why don't you share with our audience a little bit about yourself and how you ended up here today?
Sure. So I started my career in nursing as a CNA. I started a long time ago when I was 19 years old. It wasn't something that I thought I was going to do, but nursing always came naturally to me. My mom was sick when I was a young girl. At 14, she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I'm sorry.
And for 2 summers, I spent a lot of time with her in a hospital and saw what nurses did. And it just became something natural, something that I decided at that point that I wanted to do. So that's how I got into nursing. It was a long path to get here. And worked as a CNA for about 7 years, and then became a med aide, then became an LVN, and worked as an LVN for 10 years until I was able to work through RN school, and then I worked on a bachelor's degree, and just along the way I tried hospital, hospice, and nursing home, and my love was always nursing home. I don't know why I kept coming back to the long-term care facilities in my area, but it was just where I always ended up, and I always loved it. So I like working with elderly patients. Even though we're not seeing so many elderly patients in our environment anymore, they're getting younger and younger. So it's really a great place for me personally.
I love that. It is a calling. It's funny how you say that when you reminisce about how you got here. It's kind of, you just know when you know that you want to serve an elderly population, and it has changed over the course of time. Your career, my career. We've seen a lot of changes in long-term care in the populations that we serve.
Yeah, it certainly has changed quite a bit. I remember when I first started in the nursing home, it was just little old people who couldn't get around in their home. And now it's a really clinically complex population that we serve. So they're coming to us for a little bit of time to get back into their home. So, we're doing things that 20 years ago we wouldn't have done in the nursing home. So it's really exciting to see the progression of the skill set of our nurses grow as I've gone through my own journey in nursing.
That's great. That's great. Well, we talked about you've come through your journey. You've worked with other organizations. You've worked for other post-acute care companies. Tell me something, or I hope that you can tell me something. What makes it enjoyable to work here at HMG? Excuse me.
Well, I think it's the people. I've worked for many companies, big and small, across multiple states in the U.S. And one of the things that always has been different here at HMG is the motto of "we take care of people," and it's evident through actionable items, where I think in a lot of other organizations we talk about taking care of people because that's what we do. At the end of the day, we take care of our residents, but HMG has expanded that into the staff, our partners, everyone that we come into contact with. We have that motto kind of within us. Whether it's naturally or it's been drilled in us or whatever it is, we take care of people. And, at other companies, like becoming an RN, I became an RN because a coworker saw that potential in me. At the time, I couldn't afford to finish the RN program, and she lent me the money, not knowing if I'd ever pay her back to be able to finish the course. Even though my employer had a tuition reimbursement, it didn't cover it. And here at HMG, we have that actionable item where we're actually helping our staff ahead of time get through school. You don't have to pay for the course on your own, take the program, and then we'll reimburse you part of it. It's, here's the money, go do it. And that's an actionable item that makes HMG different. And I like that. I like the people I work with. A lot of times it's like working with your brothers and sisters. We argue a lot, but at the end of the day, we all love each other and we all want the same thing. And so it's nice to be able to go to any one of our leaders, whether it's a VP of clinical, a DON at a facility, the CEO, COO. if it's for the good of the person we're taking care of, then it's a no-brainer, we do it.
Love that. That's great. And it's always good for me to hear those stories because, same with you, we get to hear the stories where you just shake our heads in disbelief someday and like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, what is going on? But even that, when we talk about culture and take care of people, I always enjoy hear you say that.
Yeah.
There's some ups, and that's what you just talked about, to take care of people, and I'm going to throw you a curveball. But I do remember early on when you first joined the organization, I do recall a story where I think you told us that it was your worst day in long-term care ever.
Yeah.
And so just to make it a little bit more interesting for the folks tuning in,
Yeah.
why don't you give us some color around that worst day that just happened to be with HMG?
Yeah, well, funny enough, I was 3 weeks into the job, and coming here from a bigger company, the culture was different. I wasn't used to talking to my supervisor every day. That was new to me,
And
and
for that's Wayne Culp, our COO. So those are always pleasant conversations, especially early on.
yeah, exactly. And so I wasn't used to that, and then I wasn't used to reporting results as they came in. That happened in meetings and other organization scheduled times and things like that. So the day that I happened to be in Kansas at a facility, of course they had bad survey results. We had an Ebola scare. That was back when there was an Ebola case in Dallas.
Ebola
Yeah.
from Africa, like we were flipping out.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic, pre-everything, but an Ebola scare.
Right. This
Yes.
was back in 2014, and so it was really scary, and it was the level of intensity that Wayne brought to that situation. It was, it wasn't not only talking to him daily, but it was every 15 minutes then at that point, because we wanted to do the right thing. And end of day, I'm going to drive back to Kansas City from Topeka, and we get another survey result from another facility, and I have to text him and say, hey, it's bad. And his response was, don't you ever have anything good to say? And so, we joked, we bantered around. I said, yeah, I saved 15% on my car insurance, and I was hoping that he had a sense of humor about stuff like that as well. And I get in my car, and, I'm thinking about the day and how rough it was. We have this facility that's in trouble. We have this Ebola going on, then this other facility. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not what they said in the interview.
Exactly. Yeah.
They didn't go into all this. And as I'm driving along the tollway, the transmission in my rental car goes out. And so at that point, Wayne calls, and I'm like, I'm having the worst day of my nursing career. And I think that freaked him out. But I was also laughing when I said it, because really there's worse things that can happen than a bad day, and I'm not one to give up easily on that. I mean, I love the challenge. And so, but he didn't know that at the time, and I think he called you afterwards, because I think I got a call from you, and then I think Kim called me. So you guys had several people call me to see if I was okay.
He did.
And I truly was.
Yeah, he did, because he wasn't sure, because Wayne can be Wayne on occasion, and he called and he goes, I might have messed up. I might be a little too over the top. She told me she had her worst day ever, and I was like, well, Wayne, I think there's a lot of people sometimes that could say that after conversations with you, but they just don't say it out loud.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
those
so,
are good stories.
but it was, at that point, that day I realized working with Wayne just became natural, because, in all that was going on, it was a sense of humor between us on, changing it to something totally off subject to be able to get through the situation. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy in working with Wayne. Is I think a lot of people think he's very serious and very strict, and I don't see that. I've never seen that in Wayne. We just have a really good working relationship, and the sense of humor, I love it. And a lot of people question he has a sense of humor at times, but those of us that know him and work with him, on a daily basis, we know it.
We would have to, as hard of a time as I give him, he would actually have to have a pretty good sense of humor to put up with all the nonsense and the stuff that I periodically say about him.
Yeah.
One of the things we also get to have a good time with, and it's one of my favorite nights of the year, is our nursing banquet.
Mm-hmm.
And so last week we got to get everybody together, everybody dresses up, we get to recognize some really, really talented clinicians.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about our nursing banquet last week?
Sure. Well, it's the best night of the year. Everyone always asks if we're going to have it. Even the next day, people are asking, are we going to have this next year? Because it was just so fantastic. We had such a nice time. And it's really exciting because our staff works so hard on a daily basis, and the nature of our job is always to point out or address the things that we don't do well. And those things are minor and or so small in comparison to all the good things they do. And we don't always have the opportunity to say, you're doing a great job, but this is the one night that we come together to celebrate them and all those wonderful things they do each and every day. We get awards for different people, years of service. It's really nice to see them cut up. And, I always have to apologize to everyone because I'm used to seeing everyone in scrubs and lately, with a mask. And so, this year was really the first year that we got back to our old type of banquet where they got dressed up, they got their hair done. Like, who are you and where are you from? Because it's just been so long since we've been able to have that connection again. So it was a great night. We got to honor our DON of the year. That's always a big award. So Julie from Park Manor of the Woodlands, she's been with us for about 5 years and just has done a phenomenal job there. We're all very proud of her. And this year we also had a special recognition for Ramona Kane, our DON at Conroe, who had really a tough year, and 3 employees who really were instrumental in making a difference in her life and ours. So we were able to recognize them and surprise them with some recognition. So it was a fantastic night.
It is. It's one of those better nights where, again, it makes it all worth it when we're able to actually celebrate our team members and let them know how much we appreciate all that they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
Lots of
good.
fun. And then everyone gets to dance at the end of the night.
Or
and
dance.
That was really,
That's a broad, again, that's painting with a broad
Yeah,
brush there.
Wayne was not dancing, but,
But
we're
Ron
hoping-
was, but
Ron
Ron was, so that usually helps out. And most of our clinicians are pretty good dancers, I saw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, they have to dance around the facility and do all their thing every day, so they're in great shape for a full night of dancing. So they had a really good time, and, to hear the feedback the next day, it's really heartwarming because, a lot of them will say, I've been a nurse for 35 years and this is the first time I've ever been recognized with a dinner. And it's really heartbreaking because they work so hard, and so it's really nice to see them so excited about it.
That is amazing. Well, Norma, again, thank you so much for joining us. I'll leave it with one last open question. Is there anything else that you would want to say to the viewers, to the listeners of the program? I'll turn the floor over to you.
All right. Well, I think the one thing I would say to anyone who is considering a career in long-term care is to just go for it. There's lots of opportunity to learn. You'll have a really higher skill set than any other type of nursing environment, and it's a great place. We have lots of great people, and the residents we take care of, we are taking care of them in our home, and they truly become your family. So I would encourage nurses to give long-term care a try because it really is a wonderful place to work.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you for joining in for another episode of Healthcare Mad Genius, and we look forward to you tuning in for the next one. Thank you so much.